In survival movies, you can be sure that some people make one too many mistakes, and the characters of the CW's The Walking Dead are prime examples of that. For today's video, we'll be listing down the 10 worst decisions Michonne of The Walking Dead ever made. Do you have certain scenes in mind already? Keep on watching to find out more. Throughout the season, Michonne had her share of good points, but she also made some poor choices, and here are the worst ones, at least according to Reddit. Starting today's list, Redditors claimed that her initial distrust of Andrea was a poor choice. Many fans have disliked Andrea since her entrance in the first season because Michonne quickly jumped on her for appearing to have chosen a life with the governor over her own pals. Redditor Zotmaster, who liked Andrea, remarked that Michonne provided Andrea with absolutely no evidence on anything at all, even while it's been established that Michonne prefers her own company to that of others. That doesn't justify how much she's detested Andrea. Merle and the governor's men's nasty and confrontational behavior is understandable, but Andrea didn't merit Michonne's punishment. Next on the list, a lot of fans and viewers also didn't like her relationship with Rick. Rick and Michonne's relationship was one of many that formed independently from the original material and was unique to the television series. Redditor WalkerBayXO, however, stated in a thread remark that they thought Michonne and Rick getting together was one of the worst choices made for the season. They didn't have a specific reason for being together, and they didn't need to agree on anything to share their commitment to and desire to defend their respective communities. She might be one of the persons who has most affected Rick, yet their romance seemed forced rather than organic. Continuing with another poorly made decision she made, Michonne didn't stop Rick's outburst sooner. Rick soon breaks down after a fight with Phil and publicly questions the community's approach to the new world. After the survivors from the prison are invited to stay in Alexandria, Michonne then intervenes and knocks Rick out. According to Redditor It's Me Rex, Michonne silenced Rick even though the damage had already been done because she knew he would get them into greater trouble if he kept talking. Michonne met enough people despite her own ambitions in previous seasons to understand the good that Alexandria is trying to do and how much Rick and his group need a haven. She could have intervened, but she chose not to, other than witnessing the former sheriff's collapse out of dramatic tension. Moving on to the next bad decision she made. We have to admit that Michonne killing Negan's men spelled trouble from the get-go. Negan would teach Michonne and the group a tough and necessary lesson in the post-apocalyptic world, even though some may have believed that was an unpopular opinion about him. Redditor Gigwifuk, who claimed that Negan had just declared that every one of those men had families, friends, and everything else, was among those who believed he was justified. They claimed that they were not arguing, and that you shouldn't detest Negan for what he did, because that was just what he had to do. Killing some of his men made matters worse for numerous villages all around the country. However, it may not have been her exclusive decision, given that the entire organization was participating. Additionally, it would lead to the demise of several people who were merely attempting to improve the world and restore order to society. On to the next bad decision. Can we all as a community agree that it was wrong of Michonne to abandon Rick to go after the governor? Yes. Before leading the group to rescue their companions, Michonne, who had managed to elude capture by the governor's troops and Merle, returns the equipment Glenn and Maggie had been collecting for Rick and the gang back at the prison. Redditor Zotmaster wasn't too pleased about this choice, saying that the governor thinks you're dead, and that is a good enough excuse to stay out of their business. However, she left them for her own goals. Given that she could have used the force of the group to battle the governor's soldiers, leaving the group to fight alone was not the wisest course of action. She allowed her rage to take over, and the desire for retribution drove her into a risky situation. Now, another big mistake that she made is trusting Rick's group that easily. Michonne gives off the impression that she is a reserved individual who can't rely on anyone she meets, yet she joined Rick's gang without giving them much thought. It may have made things simpler for Rick and the gang, but how does she know they are all psychopaths? Asked Redditor Errant Stranger. She instantly trusted Rick and his gang before thoroughly observing them after visiting the town of Woodbury and learning about the threats the locals there pose. However, she was too eager to join them after facing potential hazards, which would have resulted in some unusual interactions between them all. Continuing with the list, it's also pretty bad that she left everyone to deal with the Whisperers. After years of peace, everyone must face the Whisperers, and Michonne abandons them to search for signs that may point to Rick's possible survival after blowing up the bridge years earlier to keep everyone safe. Redditor Burner 999999999 claims that although it's essential to her, she was only going to collect guns for them, leaving everyone else to cope with the threat. She has demonstrated over the past few years that she is a logical leader who tries to stay focused. The new hostile group had set her friends and children on a possible path to death. Thus, now was not the time to leave her group. And then, there's also the fact that she went with Virgil. Michonne experienced a horrible horrible hallucinogenic trip after believing that Virgil possessed weapons to assist fighting off the Whisperers, despite learning that Rick might still be alive. Redditor Perpetually Unsynced thinks that the entire situation just comes off as flimsy plot armor to give an actress some time off or something, even though it may give Michonne her own episode before leaving the series. She looked to be excessively trusting of this lone survivor before understanding his actual motives, but had no reservations about trusting Rick's gang earlier in season 3. She might be one of the best characters presented after the first season, but that doesn't explain the fact that she felt compelled to engage in a threat that could be harmful without a plan. And then, of course, how could we not include Michonne killing the governor's daughter as one of her worst decisions ever? He locates them after coming across the governor's zombie daughter and begs Michonne to stop, revealing to her his most frail side throughout the entire series. It was absolutely logical to calmly explain out to Michonne that executing her captive was literally the absolute worst thing she could have done, according to Redditor Zotmaster, who returned to voice their opinion. This one deed may have exposed him to the heroine as a sick monster, but it also caused the prison and Herschel to be destroyed, making him the main antagonist of The Walking Dead. Without any blood being shed, she might have easily won the battle. And then, finally, one of the worst decisions she ever made is leaving behind Judith and RJ. Knowing that it might be some time before they see each other again, Michonne asked Judith for a blessing after discovering signs that Rick might still be alive. Redditor Perpetually Unsynced described her as an 11-year-old's blessing, a young girl who very much still needs a mother to decide what's best for her in a lot of ways, since she was too young to make decisions for herself. Judith is still a young child whose lone mom abandoned her, and her young sibling, despite her maturity brought on by the apocalypse. The young Judith was put in a difficult situation that would affect her childhood, but this action would also leave their communities with a trained warrior down to combat the Whisperers. So what's our takeaway from today's video? No matter how beloved and how much of a fan favorite you are, there are times when a character will do something that will make you hate their guts. But don't blame the actor, just blame the writers. Because Danai Gurira did such an amazing job bringing Michonne to life in the television series. She has continued to be one of the most adored characters from the franchise. She may have had some excellent moments throughout the years, but Redditors claim that she also made some poor choices. And in case you're wondering if you'll get to see Michonne return to The Walking Dead this November, we've got bad news for you. Both Danai Gurira and Andrew Lincoln have left the program, with the former leaving in season 10 and Lincoln leaving in season 9. Since the season 11 finale of The Walking Dead is also the series' final episode, fans have been speculating about whether or not either one will return. At San Diego Comic-Con, The Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne were revealed. The two characters will be the focus of a 6-part series that will reunite them after Rick's presumed death in The Walking Dead season 9 cut short their love story. And that wraps up today's video about Michonne's worst decisions in TWD. Which of the aforementioned do you think is the worst one? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching today's video, and before you go, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with the notification bell on for more videos like these. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.